Up until that point in time, we are going to lose an astonishing amount of time on the rest of the field. This is looking quite scary right now. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode on Motorsport Manager with me, Spacefish, and welcome to the end of our practice session here at the Black Sea Grand Prix at, well, I guess the motorsport equivalent of Sochi, where, as you can see, our first practice of the third season did, in terms of results, really not disappoint all too much, but well, this whole ordeal is something that we already quite well know from the past, to be honest, and we've really come to the point to not trust any of these practice results at all anymore. Now, the third season has finally come upon us, and we've made a whole lot of changes to the chassis, made a lot of improvements, especially in terms of tyre wear, and, well, this season is going to be quite important, I would say, because well, last one, first and foremost, went absolutely terrible. We kind of technically got fired from our team, but then somehow didn't. I do still not know how that happened. But, well, coming into this season now, I mean, it's our third season in the same racing series, and we kind of really want to make sure to try and move on and finally get to a better place. And that means that we need to start becoming successful. So, well, this race is really going to be quite important because it will tell us where we will start off for the season. Hopefully it is going to be a semi-decent place for us to get started with. Let us see now, hopping into the race, which apparently, by the way, there may be some rain, so that could mess things up even further for us. But while I hit that continue button, if you're new around here and if you happen to be enjoying this episode, I just want to remind you real quick to go ahead and smash that subscribe button right down below. I would really appreciate that a ton. We're still quite the small channel, and well, I'm really hoping that we can hit 1,000 subscribers sometime soon. Still a good bit of a way out, but every single person really does help with that, so thank you so much if you did that. But without further ado, let us go and get into all the setup here. So, we will do the race trim. We won't do the super soft tyres, I think, especially given the rain and everything. Tyre changes we've come to discover are quite solid, so we will go ahead and do that. And I still don't know which one of these two was better, to be honest. It's terrible, I know. It is absolutely terrible. I think it was still the tyre changes, if I recall correctly. If not, feel free to scream at me in the comments. We will do it like this for the time being. Setup, I have to say, quite beautiful. Really liking that. Now, we do have to say here, the rain is quite bad. And if you can see right there, the rain is getting real terrible. Now, the game does want to put us on intermediates. And I mean, for this level of standing water, I would say, putting us on intermediates is not the worst choice. But if you see there, that's the rain intensifying into the race, and that's getting really wet. So, I am tending to say, if we would be able to get out of this menu, we will do the wets, and we will hope that they don't burn up too quickly. Now, I mean, we do get 12 laps of fuel, and, I mean, I'm really interested to see just how long we will stay out. I'm thinking we don't want to burn too much fuel just in case, because I mean, this looks like until lap 8 definitely will be very wet, and then I mean, it won't be dry by lap 10 or something. So the further we can drag this out, the better for us. The question being, I think we may just want to drive our fuel options like very conservatively. The tires may be a little less, because you can see right here they do hold on for pretty much like the 12 laps of fuel that we have, so we don't need to be that worried about them. I think we can run the normal tyre strategy, but run a slightly more tuned back fuel strategy. Well, that is, except for Hong, because you know, for Hong the tyres always burn within 2 microseconds, so well, you know, that'll be a bit of a worrying one. So we will go with the wets, I would say. We will start on some rather aggressive styles with those tyres. I would say we only start on high engine modes, and we tune this back very quickly looking at the weather forecast, because, well, honestly, my hope is that it will stay somewhat wet until like lap 10-12, and then we just get to go and hop into the pit window and get the slicks, and we save ourselves like a stop compared to the AI or something, which would be absolutely beautiful. Now, that is a bit gambling, and if we do see that it doesn't develop like that, I think we will just put the two, or not all too likely that it will develop like that, we'll just put the two on little alternating strategies. Hong will come in a little earlier, maybe Andre a little later, and then we see like that, alright? For the time being, we'll get this going like this. I know they don't suit the current weather conditions. Everyone is on intermediates. So this could be honestly quite the interesting one. For the first few laps, I do acknowledge will be a lot slower. But I'm banking on those little later laps and hoping that either the AI just goes in for a pit stop or we just start becoming a whole lot faster than them. So fingers crossed right there. Let's see how that goes. We're starting all the way from the back of the grid, which is interesting. I guess it's just randomized due to no points being assigned. I've got no clue. But we'll get going. And fingers crossed that this thing does work out for us. It's a very, very big gamble, I have to say. Very, very, very early into the season already. So, well, we need to see. What I do think, though, I mean, honestly speaking, given the efficiency of our tyres is not all too high just yet anyways, you may as well... Oh, God, wow, we are really lacking some performance right here. As you can see, we are really falling off quite a lot more than I would like to. Oh, boy. Maybe the wet tyre call was a mistake after all. I do not like this whatsoever. We're going to go conserve that fuel. We're going to go conserve these tyres, and we're just going to make sure to use the most of it when it actually becomes wet enough out on track. Up until that point in time, we are going to lose an astonishing amount of time on the rest of the field. This is looking quite scary right now. I do have to say this is worrying me a bit, but look at that. Look at that track developing. I hope that somehow we can... Oh no, we're not going to... I think we're not going to be able to make up for this. Look at this, we could have already pitted. Oh my god, the wet tyres are just too much the wrong call. I was hoping this track was going to get a whole lot more wet, a whole lot more quickly, I have to admit. So, I don't think that one saved pit stop is going to cut it, because at this point, people can already go into the pits with... Oh my god. Right, so there we go then. I guess the first lap of the race, making a big strategy mistake, probably. We'll see. We won't call it quits just yet. As the track gets wetter, we should be able to pick up on the pace a lot more, I would hope. But still, you know, it is not looking all that great currently. We'll see. Currently, you can see that that gap is continuously widening still. So, let's see how this develops. I do have to say, those tyres are awfully cold. We'll be a lot more aggressive, I think, to bring them up to temperature. Because in that cold, like, level of tyre temperature, they're not going to be working well at all. And you can see the first AI is coming into the pits now, because, well, you know, the situation on track is deteriorating. Ooh! We almost made it. I don't know where this AI was sitting on the track, so that's going to be an interesting question. Oh, the bad news, though, is this is going to continue well past lap 10, 12, so not quite what we were hoping for, I have to say. So what we're going to do, probably... Are we going to put Hong and Gomez on alternating? We kind of have to, don't we? Yeah, that weather is going on. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to go and burn more fuel now. And we're going to make sure to get them in for another pit stop. And we're going to hope that with a second one we can somehow cut it. We did gain a place there. And we seem to be generally gaining time, which is quite nice indeed, I would argue. But the thing is, we need another pit stop. These guys, well, I have to see how long it keeps on raining. I do hope for quite a while, but we do need to see about that. Now, we do need to tune down that tyre strategy. They're using up way too much of that tyre, which is a bit of an issue, because, I mean, the tyres are quite cold, I have to say. There we go, though. For the time being, we did actually gain some places, which is surprising, I have to say. I was quite worried about that for a second there. We will just go and burn all that fuel, though, because, I mean, we kind of really need to make it into the pits a little earlier. That said, I mean, we will leave Gomez on that strategy for a while longer, because we can't get them in both in the same lap. Now, we will probably run into the situation soon here, where some AI is going to start overtaking us here and there. We do have to conserve these tyres because we do have way too much fuel left compared to tyre quality. Oh god, man, this is going to be an intense strategy gamble right here. You can see, though, that it is apparently drying. Well, you know, the rain is stopping on lap 15, so well, the track is going to stay wet for a whole while longer, so my hope is that we can somehow perfectly time this on a second stint of wets and then move over more or less to slicks when it becomes the time for slicks, right? I am very worried, I have to say. Now, Hong is on 2.11 laps of fuel, 2.02 laps of fuel. So either we get him in now, which would mean that we go to about lap 20, which seems quite fine. Yes, and then, okay. So we can go push some more fuel out of Andre's car as well, I would argue. We do have to keep that condition in mind because we can't just go full blast on those engines all day long either. But looking at this then, I would say we just push those tyres to the limit now. We go and push Andre's tyres to, well, at least a decent temperature level, because he's going to have to go another lap. And Hong comes in this lap, goes for another set, and goes and fills up fully on a fast pit strategy, and then it's going to count. And then it's going to count like no tomorrow, because, oh my god, that track is drying up way too quickly, isn't it? Oh boy. I don't think we're going to gain that much from this, to be honest, but we'll see. I hope that somehow the AI needs to be coming in for another stop before this, but I feel like we may not manage. Now, we are going to go for the max push, I would say, on those tyres. I mean, what are we in now? Lap 10, this is going to dry up around... This must be like lap 18 or something, right? So, I mean, those tyres... and the fuel are definitely going to outlast whatever we throw at this. We can now push the max out of these tyres with Gomez. We do kind of have to go for another set of wets. I mean, that's the issue now, right? And, God, I mean, in terms of fuel, we probably overfilled Hong a little bit, I have to say. 10 laps. We will go and put 11, just so we can push a little with the fuel. No, we will put 10, because this is going to amount to 11, we all know it. It's just the way the game works somehow. But, you know, it's probably a little much that we've got going for Hong. We will see about that. Now, well, you know, we can just hope that Hong does make up some time. Maybe he won't. Maybe he won't. We will see about that. Hong, though, in the pit... Gomez, rather, in the pit lane. We will go and get that car of his fueled up, and you can see we're all the way up to 11 laps, just like we had anticipated, and we're going to just push the max out of that stuff too. Now, the one thing that we do want to watch out for is not overheating the tyres necessarily, so we will go and pull that back to push for Hong to make sure that that hopefully works out somewhat well. You know, got to keep a decent temperature window going, I would argue, on those tyres to make them work quite well. And then, well, we just see how those times develop. We are catching up a little bit now. Oh my god, there's already strange sounds coming from the engine. This is not good. We're in lap 13. We are going to tune that engine down a little bit on Gomez's, the engine mode down a little bit on Gomez's car to make sure that we don't absolutely overdo it. Now, here you can see... I'm not entirely sure what lap that is. It may end up being more like lap 20, right? So if we think about it now, on the start-finish line, we've got 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 to go. So that is 7 laps right there. Just going to tune that down a little bit. Also going to tune down that tyre strategy right there, not burn up the tyres too much, which, speaking of which, those tyres are getting a little hot. So now, what I'm really somehow hoping for, right, is that the AI makes the decision to go to inters, and we can somehow just make the cut over to slicks in time, right? We just need to make these tyres, which reminds me we should probably go down to medium. We need to hold these tyres together long enough to be able to make the jump over to slicks, basically, right? That's the hope. We just want to make the cut over to the slick tyres while the AI is going for inters. Because you can see they have to go for inters now with those tyres, right? And Well, I mean, at some point, those inters are going to become worse than the slicks, and I hope that we can somehow either harness that, or they go for another stop, and we somehow get it out the bank like that. But the issue is now that those wet tyres at some point here are going to fall off like crazy again, which is something that I never really enjoy too much. Oh my god, there's some internal battles going on right there. Apparently, well, no, wait, that was not internal battles. Somehow I thought that was my other driver. It wasn't. So, if we move on from that, I mean, my drivers do want to now go for inters, which is perfectly understandable. Now, if you see here in the pits, we are still somehow in a decent spot, but we're going to lose a lot of time now again. And now is kind of going to be the question if we can make that cutover happen. We've got another 3 laps that we need to push these cars through with the current tyres, so we will have to hope that somehow that works out. I would be under the impression that at least somehow those tyres should continue working on a wet track, hopefully, but, well, semi-wet. But we'll have to see about that. Now, I do want to see, what are these? I mean, you can see here the water on track amount, right? Where I hope that we fall below that intermediate level and then we go and get on the softs and we can well, it must be the softs, it can't be the super softs, because, I mean, the softs won't last long enough, and then we can somehow just carry it through to the end and get into a very decent spot time-wise. There, right, so this is a very risky strategy to run. I don't know what to tell you guys, but oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, and this car condition does not look great. I feel like we will have to sacrifice some time in the pits for Gomez, because otherwise he won't make it to the end. So it's a big issue right there as well. I mean, we won't be the only ones struggling with reliability, but still, it is a worrying bit that we need to keep in mind. Now, what I'm also a bit worried about is that the fuel on Gomez's end will probably not last unless I put him to low now, so we need to make sure to do that. So he has got another lap ahead of him compared to Hong. They are not, let me double check, they are not far enough apart to make that happen otherwise. Now you can see what I was really dreading. Hong is starting to lose all that time. A lot of people with reliability issues, mind you, but you can also see a lot of people on inters. One person on softs, interestingly enough. One AI just apparently totally dropping from the usual scheme here. Hong's got way too much fuel. Why has Hong got way too much fuel? Did I mismanage my fuel? Now we are in lap 20. Yes, we are. I absolutely mismanaged my fuel. We're gonna go and do it like that, I guess. So, we are on lap 20. Now, you can see the level of water on the track, but we are only, when lap 21 starts, kind of going to get out there with the softs, right? So, we're just going to hope that it somehow works out. Hong is going to push the max out of his tyres, and he is going to go for the softs. We're going to have to see for Andre. Maybe we can get him on super softs. Once lap 20 is done, that means 10 laps of the race remaining. We'll put it to 11, as per usual. Park condition is still okay-ish for Hong, and we will make sure to put him on fast. Then Gomez does have to keep going for another lap. We are currently, mind you, out of the sponsorship objective, right? So, we really need to see how this develops now with the AI. It's a lot of time that we do need to catch up on to make this work. Or they need to go in for another pit stop, which is kind of the thing that I'm speculating may happen and really praying will happen. But, you know, we'll see if that really happens, right? So, it's going to be interesting. In any case, Gomez here can go to an aggressive strategy, I would say, with his tyres. We do kind of need to repair that engine in any case. So, I'm kind of saying, you know, whatever. We'll just push it through. And Hong going into the pit lane, getting that real fuel, getting those new tyres, getting everything done. No mistakes made. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, dear pit crew. And now, we're just going to go neutral for the time being. We're just going neutral until the track is kind of dry enough, because we don't want Hong to bin it, right? The thing is, there's going to be a bit of water remaining pretty much until the end of the race, which is something that I have to say, a little concerned about. So, gotta see how that one's working out. Now, I am wondering, I thought I put the tyres on attack, not on push, but in any case, that's what that is. Now here, this is technically telling us 10 to 12 laps and super softs remaining, so we will bank on the fact that this will actually work out. Now after lap 21 there's only 9 laps remaining, so we will do this and we will make sure to fix these, which is going to be taking us quite some time. We could take that as well. Do we want to really just make sure that he makes it to the end? Another 8 seconds? God. We're just going to make double, triple sure that Gomez makes it to the end, but this is going to take us way too much time, I think. I would rather make it to the end at all, though, than just kind of DNF, which is probably likely. There's a lot of time still left in the race, right? So we do need to see about that. Now, he's going to take a minute. What I would like to see, though, and I can't see currently, would be what the times are currently looking like. Hong is driving a 1:17.876, so we are currently not gaining time at all with those tyres. It does need to dry up some more, is the message right there, I guess. We need to see. Minus 3.5, so I think it may be like another lap till it plays out for us. There is more people coming in for softs now, which is interesting, definitely. I would like to get the engine a little more aggressive, slowly but surely, same as the tyres. Just a tad bit. And we will see Hong now on a 1:14. Ooh, we are pretty much on par now with the Inters. So this lap should be the cutover where we're actually faster. So what we're going to do is we're going to push with the engine to try and make up as much time as possible. Because as you can see, that AI, slowly but surely, seems to be going into the pits, which is an interesting point, I would argue. Now, I did absolutely not manage Andre. Well, maybe I did manage him correctly, given the state of the track currently. So we will keep him out there like that for a quick second, and just see how that one works out for us. Now, looking at this, I do think we should not be over pushing Andre's tyres here, because those were quite close, if we all remember, in terms of making it to the end. And God, now we just really need that AI to come in. I really hope they do. Otherwise, we've got no chance in the world here. It does seem they are. It does seem they are, but Jesus Christ, they're so far ahead of us. I do not think that we're going to make it into a good slot here, are we? Come on, make it! Yes! Oh, we are one spot away from the sponsorship objective, and the car is falling apart! No! It was looking so decent! Why is it all of a sudden just falling apart? Oh, no! Well, you know, it wasn't a terrible strategy, right? It somehow worked out, but it also really didn't work out, like, that well. And now my suspension is falling apart. There's still, like, 6 laps to go. I am not too confident. Why is the engine making weird sounds? I just repaired that. Oh my god, my cars, they're falling apart. Help. Yeah, this is, probably not going to go too well for us, unfortunately, I have to say. I was really hoping for more here, but the strategy may have been a bit bold to execute on both drivers. Should have probably put them on alternating strategies from the beginning, I think. So that was a bit of a mistake on my end. Otherwise, yeah. I was really thinking, honestly, that those wets would at least work somewhat well, right? Not to have them be basically completely useless until, like, the middle of the wetness levels on the track have been reached. So that was a bit unfortunate, I would argue. Well, unfortunate, unexpected, however you want to call it. Now there is still 3 laps remaining, isn't there? So do have a little bit of an issue on the engine mode here as well, and Hong is now going to start being eaten up, especially, of course, with this car being somewhat defective, right? That's not great in the end, and well, I think that's pretty much as far as it's going to go. Now Andre's car is also falling apart, despite spending ages on repairing it in the pits. Holy moly, guys. This is not great. There's been a few people that pitted again, which I guess down to reliability or them not having pitted yet. So we're up in 12th again, but now 30th lap right here. Can we? 8%, man. 8%. I just, you know, let's just push everything out of this. Hong must have gotten lapped, right? Did he? Yeah, the first lad is ahead of him, so it's kind of his last lap, isn't it? Gomez, rather, sorry. So yeah, I'm just gonna put the last bits out of those tires. Oh wait, no, 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 no. No, this is not the last lap. What am I saying? This was so close. I almost messed it up entirely. He would have nearly ran out of fuel. Am I good here? Yeah, I should be. I hope so. Yeah, he's good. Oh my god, man. What a race. What a race, everybody. I am like, absolutely, this was, well, an interesting first race to the season, I would say. We almost made the sponsorship objective, despite a, well, slightly excessively risky strategy, I would say. It almost worked out in the end, but, you know, the cars just started falling apart a bit much, and we hadn't quite gained enough time to get into that sponsorship objective slot, so it was an interesting try, for once, I would say. Something that I would argue we can, in general, still probably improve on a good bit. Good to know now about the insane performance difference between wets and mediums and those lower humidity levels. We will keep that in mind for the future. Nonetheless, I would say it's not a race to totally forget about. You know, we came home, we got somewhere, we got a few points, you know, that is something. 8 for Hong, 2 for Gomez, that's a start. We're still last, but, you know, on par last, so that's a start. Lots to improve, though. Lots to improve. We need to continue working on that car. We need to get those reliability levels up like no tomorrow, and we need to get some parts ready. We need to get parts improved, and we just need to work heavily on the car now. But we will continue doing so in the next episodes. For today, I'm ending it off right here. I hope you all very much enjoyed it. Of course, if you did, please make sure to go ahead and smash that like button right down below for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider subscribing, as well as hitting that bell icon in order to stay up to date on all those future upcoming episodes. With all those things out of the way though, as usual everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next episode very, very soon. Ciao.